Imagine you and your family have lived on your land for generations. You farm it, build on it, and call it home. Then, one day, strangers arrive. They take over, force you to work for them, and tell you that your way of life is wrong. You resist, but they have guns. They take everything. This is how Africa was colonized. But here's the thing, Africa fought back. This is the real story of how outsiders stole Africa, how one country never fell, and why Africa is still recovering today. Stick around to the end to learn how we can rebuild Africa and why African Americans should visit the motherland. And if you love history that they don't teach in school, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe for more how Africa was taken. Before Europeans arrived, Africa wasn't just villages and tribes, it had powerful empires like Mali Empire, home to Mansour Musa, the richest man in history. Kingdom of Congo, a major trade hub. Great Zimbabwe, a massive stone city in southern Africa. Songhai Empire, known for its advanced universities and military. But then, in the 1400s, the Portuguese showed up. At first, they just traded along the coast, but soon, they saw something more profitable, people. They began kidnapping Africans and selling them into slavery. This was the start of the transatlantic slave trade, which lasted 400 plus years and took over 12 million Africans to the Americas. Entire societies collapsed because of it. By the 1800s, the British, French, Belgians, Germans, Italians, Spanish, and Portuguese realized Africa had gold, diamonds, rubber, and land, and they wanted it. Instead of fighting each other for it, they held a meeting in Berlin in 1884, called the Berlin Conference, where they divided Africa among themselves. After that, Europe invaded Africa. Britain took Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa. France took Algeria, Senegal, and much of West Africa. Belgium took the Congo and turned it into a horror show. Germany grabbed Namibia, Tanzania, Rwanda. Portugal controlled Angola, Mozambique. Italy tried to take Ethiopia, but failed. They stole land, resources, and people. Africans were forced to work for free, beaten, or killed if they resisted. Languages, religions, and traditions were erased. Colonizers brainwashed generations into thinking that African culture was inferior. The country that never fell. But one country refused to be colonized, Ethiopia. In 1896, Italy invaded Ethiopia, thinking it would be an easy victory. But Emperor Menelik too had something different in mind. At the Battle of Adwa, Ethiopia's army destroyed the Italians, proving that Africans could fight back. Ethiopia remained independent, making history. How Africa fought for freedom. After World War II, Europe was weak. Africans saw their chance. Some, like Ghana, won independence peacefully. Others, like Kenya and Algeria, had to fight brutal wars. By the 1960s, most African countries were free. But here's the problem, Europe didn't just walk away. They left behind corrupt leaders who would still serve European interests. Some of these leaders stole from their own people, while others were killed, like Patrice Lumumba, who was assassinated with help from Western power. Even though colonization ended, Africa still deals with its effects. Unfair trade, Africa exports raw materials cheaply but has to buy them back as expensive finished products. Corruption, some leaders steal, keeping their own people poor. Tribal conflicts, the random borders made by Europe still cause wars. Western media lies, the media only shows Africa as poor, war-torn, and starving, hiding its progress. But here's the truth, Africa is rising. Countries like Rwanda, Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria are growing fast in business and technology. African music, art, and culture are taking over the world. The younger generation is waking up. How we can rebuild Africa. 1. Support African businesses, buy African products, invest in African entrepreneurs. 2. Educate ourselves, learn Africa's real history, not just what school taught us. 3. Encourage tourism. Africa has cities, beaches, and culture, not just safaris. A message to African Americans. If you're African American, you are part of this story. Your ancestors were taken from Africa, but Africa is still your home. Ghana has the Year of Return program, inviting African descendants to reconnect. Many African Americans are moving back, starting businesses, and finding a sense of belonging. Africa is not just a place, it's a family. Africa's story is not just about suffering, it's about resistance, survival, and rebirth. We were stolen, we were colonized, we were divided, but we are still here. And now, It's time to rebuild. If you want to hear more stories they don't teach in school, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.